often traveled to away games, owned lots of impressive team memorabilia, and had an affinity for sports betting. On Twitter, Chiefsaholic said he hustled in private and was playing with house money, which are interesting statements to remember for later. During the 2022-23 season, Chiefsaholic attended nearly every home and away game. Because he was starting to become so well known, especially within his particular circle, he began employing increasingly complicated tactics to maintain his privacy. He would walk miles from the stadium in his full wolf get-up in order to avoid people identifying and tracking his vehicle. While pumping gas or eating in public, he would wear disposable gloves to hide his fingerprints. It is like the level of identity protection that Batman would have to go through, but it was a guy who wore a wolf costume to football games. Hilariously, he never employed the simplest solution to maintaining his privacy, which would have been to stop going to these games dressed like a wolf. If he wanted to avoid being identified, he could have started buying different seats, dressed as a normal fan, and deleted his social media. But clearly, as you probably figured, there was something he loved about being a local celebrity, even if it risked something that was apparently extremely important to him, his privacy. Despite his efforts, some people online wanted to know exactly who this person was, and thus rumors and theories began. Some suspected that Chiefsaholic was struggling financially, despite claiming otherwise. They suggested that maybe the reason he parked so far away was because he was living out of his car. And these theories aren't entirely far-fetched. If you've been on the internet for any amount of time, you've probably seen a story of someone getting so addicted to gambling that they lose their home, they lose a lot of their social standings or relations, but they'll continue gambling. Especially when, in Chiefsaholic's case, there's notoriety attached to it. One thing that never made sense to anyone paying close attention were his prolific gambling expenses. He would regularly place bets of $5,000 or more, upwards of $20,000 on Kansas City, as well as on prop bets with increasingly long odds. It's well understood in the betting world that an above-average bettor still wins just above 50% of their wagers, and that's if they're doing really good. Chiefsaholic rarely posted his losses, but he had to have been losing money at an enormous rate. Even for a warehouse manager making the aforementioned excellent living, this would be difficult to maintain on such a salary. But regardless, Chiefsaholic's public, mysterious life continued to play out on social media, especially on game day. He traveled to away games in opponent cities across the country, announcing his travels on Twitter and Instagram. It was during one of the Chiefs' away games that everything started to unravel. On December 18th, 2022, the Chiefs visited Houston to play the Texans. Chiefsaholic had announced he was going to Texas for the game, but as the day of the game approached, he never arrived. His social media went dark, which was already highly unusual for him. Chiefsaholic remaining silent on game day raised serious concerns to those who were following. Relevant social media circles immediately began speculating that something had gone wrong. I mean, after all, someone who thrives in the spotlight of internet fame wouldn't stop posting on social media for no reason. But the fact that he did so in the middle of a trip to see his team play with a chance to lock up the division championship was unimaginable. Fans began tagging the Chiefs' official accounts to spread word of his disappearance. Social media bloodhounds were called in to hunt for potential clues regarding his whereabouts and status, which I understand people were keeping up with this guy, and, you know, him showing up at games and making a big deal of himself was a recurring thing, so I understand why they were concerned, but at the same time, he is a guy who shows up to football games. If he's out of service for a few hours, we don't need to get the police involved. I mean, as you're going to find out, we did need to get the police involved, but no one knew that yet. As the days dragged on with radio silence from his accounts, the internet continued to formulate theories on what could have possibly happened to him. Maybe he had ran into trouble on the way to the game, stuck somewhere between Kansas City and Texas. Had he been in an accident? Was it some sort of family crisis pulling all of his attention off the internet and into the real world? Well, as concerned as people seemed to be, no one was able to uncover anything due to Chiefsaholic's surrounding aura of mystery. There was virtually no information for anyone to go off of. No name, no address, no idea what car he drove, or what his face looked like. At this point, it could have been anyone. I mean, for all we knew, he showed up to the game just without the wolf costume. That's when the big guns were called in. Christian Folsom, also known as Folsom Facts on Twitter. The amateur internet sleuth had been tagged to help concerned followers find the real identity of Chiefsaholic. That way, they could confirm whether or not he was in danger and needed help. Well, after doing some digging, Folsom was able to land a major lead in the case. The man known as Chiefsaholic had a name, Xavier Babudar. Also, according to Babudar himself, his first name is not pronounced Xavier, but it's pronounced as caviar, but instead of a C, it's an X, so Xavier? There's absolutely no way. I'm calling him Xavier. Folsom, with the help of another detective, also learned that Xavier may have actually been driving to Chiefs away games. Using this breakthrough information, they traced Babudar's likeliest route from Kansas City to Houston. Based on when Xavier left Kansas City, they estimated the general area where he should have been at the time of his disappearance. Together, they scoured hospital admittance records, obituaries, and news stories looking for any possible sign of harm that may have come to someone with that name, but didn't find it. Again, an absurd level of detective work, normally, to go into someone that just shows up to Kansas City Chiefs games, but given where this goes, I guess they were right this time. So where did Xavier go, and why suddenly drop off the map? Well, Folsom had a theory. The internet sleuths began searching for stories on local crimes in major cities along the way, thinking perhaps Babudar had ran into some trouble with the law on the road to Houston. While combing the internet for such stories in Tulsa, Oklahoma, they discovered something truly shocking. And that was an arrest record in Bixby. A neighboring suburb of Tulsa reported that Babudar had been arrested for armed robbery. Xavier, the enthusiastic superfan, again, the guy that dressed like a wolf, had just robbed a bank in Oklahoma for $150,000. Oh my gosh, it's so weird. 2 days before the Chiefs were slated to face the Texans in Houston, the man known as Chiefsaholic entered Tulsa Teachers Federal Credit Union in Bixby, Oklahoma. Armed with a handgun, he ordered a bank employee to open the vault and put the money in a plastic bag, saying that he would shoot if they didn't comply. A bank teller managed to contact police as the robbery was ongoing, and as Babudar attempted to flee on a bicycle. Mark out the same list of demands. Mark. Okay. Things like take me to the vault and fill the bag up with cash. Across 7 states, he had stolen a total of $847,725 from multiple financial institutions. And on February the 28th, 2024, he was sentenced to 17.5 years in federal prison. While he was technically given 2 17.5-year-long sentences, one in Missouri, the other in Oklahoma, he is serving them concurrently. So 17.5 years in total, or in total at the same time. Concurrent, you know what I mean. He was also ordered to pay over $530,000 in restitution to victim financial institutions, as well as forfeit any property gained from his money laundering. This includes the autographed painting of Patrick Mahomes that was recovered by the FBI. Also, I see sometimes when I talk about these criminal cases, like for example when I said he had stolen like $850,000 and he's ordered to pay $530,000, people will be like, well, that doesn't make any sense because he stole more than that, so what, he gets to keep $300,000? If they find that you stole money, you don't get to keep the stolen money. It's not like if a mob boss has $100 million when the police get him, they're not like, well played, well, we'll keep this nice and safe for you until you get out. It's like, no, they take that, and now you owe an additional $530,000. And then there was